Yes.
Alright, coming back at you again this morning. Another one from Andy. This one, it was supposed to be a yellow 7, I think is what happened. And the pods turned out looking like this. So he's just labeled as a yellow 7 hybrid. It kind of has a little bit of the characteristics of yellow 7 where it has that, which is also a characteristic of like Marugas. And that's really loud, hun.
Bumpy road. Bumpy road. It's because it's a bumpy road, Dad.
So, bear with me with the noise in the background. My son's running around like a hooligan. We're going to cut into this and see what's going on. Hey, hon, would you mind getting that out of here? Because if he comes in here and sees it, he might press it. And yeah. Thank you. So.
Bumpy road.
Bumpy road, says my son.
Yeah.
It's one of his favorite things to say now. Ooh, more of a pungent smell to it. And it looks absolutely hellacious inside. Oh. So, I'm going to take half of it out. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to do this. Plop this seed back in the other half here. And we're just doing a sliver down the whole side. And I'm just going to put the rest out to dry. Oh, the seed. Alright. So now we got that moved. You can take a look in this one. It's really cool looking on the inside here. It's got a lot of oil, but it's not as bad as some. Texture-wise, it looks more like a habanero. Like a Caribbean red or some other form of habanero. Doesn't have as much oil, but it definitely, that placental tissue in the capsaicin goes all the way onto the side of walls and not just confined to the placental tissue, you know, the foam or the veins, whatever you want to call it. I used to call it pith. Anyway, we're gonna get started. Here we go. Yellow 7 hybrid. And already I can tell this one's not quite as bad as the Jonah. It also tastes a lot like a habanero. It's like a regular red or orange habanero. Got a little bit of heat. Not nearly as intense as that Jonah. It's not bitter. Actually, it's not really sweet either. Just kind of you got the flavor of the pepper. Oh, there's a little tartness and sweetness coming in now. I think the first bite. Yeah, very aromatic, perfume-like notes to it. Fruity. Tastes definitely more like a habanero, flavor-wise. Doesn't taste like a 7-pot. Texture-wise, too. And actually, the heat is pretty mild on this one. I guess I must have gotten not quite as intense part, although I do got some brown oil coming up here at the end pieces. A little bit more fruitiness coming through as I work my way up here. As my taste buds get accustomed to the flavor, can pick up on the more subtle nuances. I mean, it's still pretty hot, but nowhere near as much so. Right in the throat, it's getting hit. Hi.
Okay.
You sharing your combos? little bit more of 7-pot flavor at the very end there. Pretty hot, but not nearly as intense as that Jonah. I'm just going to ride this out, no snipped segment. It's not super hot. I can tell by looking at it that the rest of it, if I had eaten more of it, probably would be a little more different story, but I ate about the same amount of that proportionately as the Jonah, so I'm going to say that this one's just not quite as hot. Nice flavor, good texture. Again, like overall the flavor is more akin to a orange or a red habanero. Heat-wise, it's probably in that same ballpark too. Hit me really sharp spike right in the throat here more than anything. That's like a really prominent sensation right now. It's this sharp focus of heat needling right in the middle of my throat here. And lips are glowing good. There's a little sweat going on. And whole tongue, roof of the mouth, a little bit in my cheeks and my gums. But again, it's that really intense needling sharpness right in the middle of my throat there. That's catching me, especially when I swallow. Right after I swallow, it starts blossoming back again. So yeah, it's pretty sharp little burn here. Yeah, I'd probably put those, I mean, after having that Jonah and then having one that's not quite as hot, it seems even more mild by comparison. But I'd definitely say overall the burn's probably right around the upper end of a regular habanero heat-wise. But yeah, it's more manageable now that once I already had one that was a bit hotter than this. So my sense of proportion on this specific one is a little off. If I had eaten this one first and then the Jonah, I might have noticed that this was a little bit warmer, but again, now I'm got a little bit more broken in for the morning. I'm used to the really, really hot of the Jonah and then coming into a milder one. Yeah, it's build on my tongue a little bit more. It's a nice slow build. It's not coming up to a super unbearable and painful crescendo. It's just a nice even blanket. It's fluffing its way up on my top of my tongue, especially. Underside of the tongue's got a little focus. The throat sharpness is diminishing now, and everything else is coming forward more. Now that my mind's not distracted by that pinpoint as much. Nice little warm cloud, as it were, of heat building inside my mouth. Lips I got up. Good glow happening, but inside of my gums, above my, and underneath my teeth, flowed and back into my cheeks and the rest of my gums. Roof of my mouth's got a good little focus of warmth happening, but it's not that intense. It's overall, it's got that good, one of my favorite qualities in general of Chinense, and this heat level is just perfect to exemplify all those characteristics of that nice even warmth that just kind of coats the whole inside of your mouth. So there, I mean, again, it was that sharp focus at first in the throat, but that diminished fairly quickly within the last minute or two here, and now it's just settling in. If this were used in a food dish of some kind, it would definitely even coating of a good upper level heat without tending towards the extreme. Well, again, that's from a chili head's perspective. This one definitely would be a super intense hot one to somebody who's not as involved in the different aspects of chili head culture. That just does a little bit of hot food, and so yeah, it's really nice. Lots of drool, but not as much as from the Jonah. Got a good little knot right in my stomach, but it's not painful. Faint hints of the flavor left, but it's almost abated at this point. Yeah, it's going on at a good level. It's peaked, but it's still floating through at this nice intensity. Rather, it's not super intense because it's overall comprehensive instead of focused too much in one area and not enough in another. I find that with one of the reasons with annuums that I've generally been not as favorable towards them. Not the flavor so much, because once they're ripe, the flavors are really nice of annuums, but it's that quality of those capsaicins that focuses a burn like really sharply on the tip of your tongue or on the roof of your mouth more than anything else, and so there's that one area that's distracting you from the overall experience, and so you don't notice the other aspects of the burn coming through as much. But with chin ents in general, again, well, some chin ents, especially the Nagas and the 7 pots, just tend to get you in the throat really bad. Or other chin ents I've noticed will be a little bit more on the tongue at first, and then they'll settle into that overall burn. But this one was definitely good for the overall experience, and at first, but it was a relatively short interval with the sharp burst in the throat, like maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and then that was gone, and then now it's just settled into a nice, it built up a little bit. After that throat part diminished, it did build a little bit more in the heat, but it was a nice gradual fluffing up of it before it finally settled in and then started gradually diminishing. It's going on at a good level still. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Yeah, really nice yellow 7 hybrid. I'll be saving the seeds for that. We'll see if it's stable. I know in general hybrids tend not to, or crosses tend not to be stable after one generation, but it's worth a try to grow it out at some point and see what it is. So yeah, thanks again, Andy. I got a few more his pods to try before I am completed, and I also have a few left that Roland sent me, and I also have a few from my garden that I haven't tried the ripe versions of, so we can dive into those. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you later.